Hello everyone and welcome back. Sorry not for not posting for so long. I've just been very busy. And now I will continue posting my horror stories. And today we have two stories from Reddit. So sit back, enjoy, grab a snack and relax as we dive in. First story is from Dylan underscore Roy. I live in a very rural southern Appalachia, and yesterday I was going to the next country to look at a lawnmower. It's an area I'm very familiar with, although I haven't been to the area in over a year. While on the way, I came upon a town that has never been there before. Now, there's a small community there, and it was by the same name, but this was a full-fledged small town. Had a couple of red lights, a main street with probably 15 to 20 storefronts, everything. I was so taken aback I stopped in the middle of the road. After a few moments, a car behind me honked the horn, so I pulled into a parallel spot and got out. Now, the small towns in my area are all the same. Tiny, dingy, run down. Had a heyday in the 90s and 50s, but all have fallen into disrepair. And not this one. Everything was pristine and new looking. Swept sidewalks, shiny windows, and clean brick. The people I saw were dressed in the modern clothes and had the same appearance that most people in the area have. Healthy, but weather-beaten and aged beyond the years. The vehicle I saw were fairly modern, new to 20 years old, nothing out of the ordinary. I walked into the small restaurant, Cream of the Crop Cafe, and it looked like every other little restaurant in the area. Booth and tables, a bar top with a register, and a kitchen behind it. Some cheesy James Dean and Marilyn Monroe pictures on the walls. I walked up to the girl at the counter and asked her where I was. She seemed puzzled because I could tell she knew I was local by my attire and my accent. But she said, Minneapolis. I said, so this is Minneapolis. When did they build all this? Again, she looked puzzled and said, I don't know, in the 1800s sometime? I couldn't handle anymore, so I just left, got in my truck, and went on to look at the lawnmower. On my way back through, about an hour later, there was Minneapolis, like it should be. A couple of houses and an old general store. No town, no red lights, no cafe, no sidewalks. Freaked me out, something awful. I never experienced such as this, as I'm pretty mundane and boring. It wasn't a hallucination, I don't think. Everything else was the same. Wasn't a dream, so I don't know. Story number 2. From Throwaway 10094. My girlfriend never knew me. About 12 years ago, when I was a teenager, I met two girls. The names were Michelle and Anna. I met Michelle first and was introduced to Anna through her. We spent a massive amount of time together over the course of several years. Anna and I were actually dating for the majority of that period, and I still have tons of pictures and online chat logs to prove it. Eventually, college came up, Anna moved away, and we split completely amicably. Michelle left for college not long afterward, but things between us were also amicable. We gradually just lost touch. I haven't really thought about them for a long time, but I ran into Michelle a couple of years ago. I said hello, but she seemed to have absolutely no idea who I was. I told her my name, and she just stared at me completely dumbfounded. At first, I thought maybe I had misidentified her, so I asked if she was Michelle, who went to etc. High School and had been friends with Anna and so and so. She stated that she was, but still seemed incredibly confused. I told her a few other things in effort to jog her memory, but her expression gradually changed to one of absolute terror. She became angry and started yelling. Who the fuck are you? Get away from me! With no other options, I left. The meeting with Michelle had really freaked me out. I considered that maybe she had suffered a head injury or something of that sort, but I decided to look up Anna online. I found her living out of state and sent her an email. She verified who she was, but also seemed to have absolutely no recollection of me. I gave her my phone number and asked her to call. She did. I tried to make her remember, but she continued acting clueless. I mentioned that I dated her for almost 3 years, but she just laughed at me. That's ridiculous. I was dating Mike through most of high school. Who the fuck is Mike, I wondered. She accused me of trying to play a trick on her and she hung up. The whole situation bothered me for a while, but I managed to let it go. Then, a few months ago, I started going through CDR backups. I had made a couple of old computer data. On one disk were audio recordings from early 2002. Recordings I have created by recording my answering machine messages onto a computer microphone. That might sound weird, but I'm acoustic and I have a definitive inclination towards saving and categorizing things which feel important to me. Much of the disk had become corrupt, but 2 of the messages, which remained intact, were from girls. Judging by the file names, one was named Jessica, and the other one was Heather. Both girls declared that they loved me, but I didn't recognize either of the voices. In fact, I hadn't known anyone with these names since grade school. Yesterday, I called up a few people who had been my friends when I was a teen. None of them had any idea who Michelle and Anna were. Neither of them remembered Heather, but they all mentioned how I spent years absolutely in love with a girl named Jess. Apparently, they all met her, at least briefly. I wouldn't ever shut up about her, and I was absolutely heartbroken when she broke up with me. Nobody recalled her last name, where she went to school, or any details I could use to find her. Though they were able to give me a physical description, short and slightly chubby blonde-haired girl, and tell me that she had a squeaky, high-pitched voice. The girl in my recording does in fact have a voice which fits that description perfectly. How did I lose Michelle and Anna? How did I gain Jess? Who even is Jess? Has anyone else experienced this kind of thing? Well, thank you so much for listening, guys. That was it for today, but I will return shortly because I have some stories of my own. Some new terrifying stories. Something that happened just the other day. But for now, I will just say take care and stay spooky. And thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. I appreciate it. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye bye.